August 9th. This is video number 2. So I am able to do this video now. I ran into some technical abnormalities as usual, in other words, hacking. I've been using computers for like 30 years, and for many of those years, it was in a very professional capacity. We're talking internet and intranet, and I never had any problems like this. I'm actually I've always been an experienced computer user. I even took courses in computers. But never have I ever experienced anything like this. Like, this is definitely hacking, and I know if I say it, it's true because I know what I'm talking about. I'm an experienced computer user. Period. So I'm doing this video because I put an SD card in my cell phone. I had to put an SD card in my cell phone because I was running into a lot of problems with the internal storage once again. So anyway, I'm going to start off from where I left off, which is the main thing here is that starting in about mid-2016, I started to be hit. It was like an attack. I started to be hit with these really bizarre pains, but even more than the pains would come, they would unfold, they would manifest, they would present in a logical way, in a logical pattern. So very clearly, consistently, they would follow a pattern. And what seems to me, it is a very logical pattern. You can read my 9 diaries. You'll see it seems very methodical, and it seems very thought out. It can't be subconscious because subconscious doesn't work that way. Subconscious works in very abstract ways. The subconscious uses archetypes, and this subconscious doesn't trigger pains in specific rooms of the house. I'm going to get to that in a second. So basically, the pains hit just before I'm about to smoke. I usually smoke a third of a cigarette. I don't smoke that much. So starting in about I would say spring mid 2016, I would be hit by a sharp pain in my ankle. It started with the eye contour areas. I would be hit with a very sharp pain in my eye contour areas, or twitching, as I was, for example, walking through this area, the corridor, which this is the end of the kitchen, which leads to the corridor. I'm going to turn on the light. This is the corridor to the garage, and this is when the pains hit. Okay, so they actually hit in specific rooms of the house. Kitchen, leading to the corridor, leading to the garage. You see the door here. I open the door. I smoke a third, so I smoke very quickly, and then the pain will, it's already been triggered when I pass the room, and then it continues, and then sometimes it will go past the time I'm smoking, but as I turn, I'll get like a very sharp cramp in my back, and then when I walk back in the house, after I'm done smoking my third, the pain goes away, it's gone. And then it repeats again, the same thing. I'm doing an activity. At the end of the activity, if this is an activity that usually precedes me smoking, so there are times of the day that I tend to smoke, and there are definitely smoking periods. As in times I smoke a little more than other times, right? Like, I don't smoke when I work out. Sometimes I work out for 2 hours, right? Because of all that mysterious weight gain of 30 pounds. So the pains hit. I'm going to sum it up. Number one, at the end of activities, when I'm in the kitchen and I'm doing something, they strike at the end of that activity. When I'm finishing off that activity, after which I'm very habitually or typically likely to smoke. And that's when the pain will hit. So even before I go smoke. It will also hit in specific rooms. You can also look at another way. Every time I approach this area of the house, which is the latter part of the kitchen, and into the corridor, which leads to the garage door, that's when I get struck with these pains. So the pains vary, they evolve. Like I said, they started with the eye contour area, then they became this area, then they became the neck, and then there's pains in my crotch, in my legs, in my buttocks. The pains evolve and they change, but the pattern always stays the same. Do you understand that? The presentation of the pains, the actual presentation pattern, always stays the same. It's very much a methodical, logical, and it seems well thought out plan. It's not natural. Pains do not behave that way. Anybody who's I'm 53 years old, I can say that these pains are natural. I think I've lived long enough, I can say the pains are simply not natural, and they're very abnormal, because, like I said, they follow like a methodical, very clear and consistent pattern. And pains don't do that. They happen before a specific activity. Pains don't do that. If pains are going to happen, they're going to happen while you're doing the activity. The activity causes the pain. They will not happen before an activity, and not so consistently and in such a tortuous way. This has been happening for years. It feels to me like nothing other than torture. To me, it's nothing other than torture. And there are several other patterns as well. So I'm going to take a break now. I don't want to put too much, I don't want to overload your brain. I don't want to, confuse you. I'm going to try to go as slow as possible. I know I sound like a doctor, but it's actually very easy to understand. So I'm going to leave it there, and then I will continue with the next video.